Business owners affected by the construction of Auckland's city metro say they're going out of business and are angry no one will compensate them. It comes as the City Rail Link's deadline in the CBD has been pushed out to the end of 2020, and the wider project encompassing Lower Queen Street and Mount Eden Station will be completed in 2024. And while small businesses struggle to find a voice to complain, one major hotel chain is threatening legal action. Alex Perrottet and cameraman Dom Thomas went to dodge the road cones on Albert Street.
Out on the noisy Albert Street worksite, the City Rail signage says business as usual. But pop inside the iconic Shakespeare Hotel and you can hear a pin drop. Patrons driven away by the trucks, the dust, the vibration and the lack of access. Sunny Kaushal owns the bar and the restaurant and has the chairs permanently up on the table. He says it's not looking good and some owners have already been forced to close.
So the remaining ones of us, we are trying to live day by day. It's like dying a slow death. That's the situation that we are going through. Talking about just one business, if we talk about the Shakespeare, which is given to New Zealand from last 120 years of service, now we are losing on an average about $500,000 per annum.
Sunny Kaushal says he's been able to compensate his business with other income, but he can't keep doing so, and last year had to let people go.
We had to lay off the staff, and that was very, very sad situation. And similar is the case with other businesses. They cannot afford, but without the staff, we cannot survive as well. So it's a catch-22.
Construction began back in 2016, and although some delays are always expected with large projects, news that the deadline has been pushed out to late 2020 has devastated the small business owners. Shovana Ranchoji runs the Roma Blooms florist on Albert Street and took a gamble before the project started. She bought out the cafe next door, hoping increased income would more than cover the increased rent. She says her decision was based on advice that if the metro project went ahead, they'd be relocated and compensated. But the plan changed, and authorities decided they wouldn't need to relocate anyone, leaving Shovana and her neighbours badly exposed, or better, completely covered up with hoardings.
That was hard. Yeah, a lot of businesses, even though my business didn't have a hoarding in front of it, because the other businesses were so impacted, their customers stopped going there. That meant the traffic flow stopped coming to our shop, so it's affected us quite badly.
Bruce Glover owns the Mexican cafe around the corner and says City Rail Link wouldn't even help to put advertising on the wooden boards to try to minimise the impact. He says despite his complaints, he hasn't had any direct contact from City Rail Link or Auckland Council.
Nothing at all, no. Just the original letter about we're going to knock the building down, and then no letter to say no, we're not. So yeah, it's kind of like nothing really happening.
And what do you think they should do?
I think it would be nice if they could, compensate the owners for their losses. At least acknowledge that there are difficulties going on, and I think that would be the minimum they could do. But hearing nothing from them is a sort of slap in the face of it.
Many local small businesses here say they're upset at the lack of communication from City Rail Link Limited as well as Auckland Council. Some of them had a meeting in a cafe in the first year of construction quite a while ago where they aired their grievances, but they heard nothing back. Only yesterday did some of them receive an email asking for a second meeting, but there was no talk of any compensation. Some of those small businesses are now getting together to fight as a group. Other bigger players, like the Stamford Hotel behind me, are threatening legal action if City Rail Link Limited does not cease and desist its current works, or at least start talking about some form of compensation. The hotel chain threatened they would file an injunction in the court, but the CEO of City Rail Link, Sean Sweeney, says that hasn't happened and they're in ongoing discussions. Sean Sweeney says there's a whole host of reasons for the delays.
Very narrow site, constrained working conditions. They made assumptions about how fast they could go, which unfortunately didn't play out. There was a lot of bad weather. It basically rained for 6 months at the back half of last year.
And he says those delays were compounded by Auckland Council asking for further works to be added to the brief. Auckland Council sent a letter to businesses saying it couldn't even offer compensation in the form of rates rebates. These business owners say that's hard to swallow, considering the council bailed out Eden Park to the tune of $63 million and has compensated other big businesses. Mr Sweeney says City Rail Link is reapproaching the businesses, but he has no money to hand out. The project itself is already blown out by $1 billion.
Well, I don't have a budget for it. I don't have a remit from the sponsors of the project, and perhaps more importantly, we don't have any mechanism to assess compensation. And the Public Works Act is probably a better place for those things to be assessed.
That means if these business owners want some chance at financial relief, they'll have to turn out their pockets again and instruct lawyers. Alongside Sunny Kalshal at the Shakespeare Hotel, they say they're all in favour of the project, but if they go out of business before it's completed, then it's certainly not all's well that ends well. In Auckland for Checkpoint, Alex Perrottet.